Hey y'all, welcome back to Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. I'm Melissa. Thank you for joining us on YouTube at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. And we're going to go out and take a look at our meat birds that we currently have in production. They are 32 days old, raising them out to 37 days old. They're Cornish rock cross meat chickens. And current situation is it's raining cats and dogs, and everything around here is metal roofs, so that creates a lot of extra noise. But we'll maybe view the birds from outside their barn looking in, and that might help. But I'll still have to manage the umbrella and the camera at the same time, so I'll do my best. There's a drop of rain off the umbrella now, but it is raining cats and dogs. Supposed to rain and storm all afternoon. It's been about 3 hours since the birds were checked on. They're high and dry in their barn, and we generally don't get flooding right here where we are, so not a huge worry about that. But nonetheless, raining, shining, snowing, whatever, livestock still has to be checked. So we got to go out and see the chickens, and I need to get up to the egg production birds as well and visit those gals again for today. But we're gonna go out here. I'm gonna go out here first. So we should have 113 Cornish rock cross chickens in this flock. Last time I was in the barn, there was 113, and we'll kind of talk about that, about numbers with them. Flock loss prior to processing is a real thing with Cornish rock cross meat chickens, and so many times we hear people raising Cornish rock cross meat chickens say, we're not going to lose any, they're not going to die before we're ready to take them to processing. It's nice to dream. It's nice to dream. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and just tip of the iceberg on the concept of biosecurity. I think today that was all we were going to really mention. So I'm going to approach slowly here. The birds aren't used to seeing an umbrella. That just dawned on me. They're not used to seeing an umbrella. So that it might cause a scare response in them. But I was going to try to set it down and lean into the barn. Oh, sorry. So I was having to remember what my camera was aiming at there. So let's take a look at the birds. Let me get the camera turned around. I was kind of trying to think about 3 or 4 things at once, and I wasn't doing well with that. So anyway, look at these birdies. They look good. So 32 days old. Cornish rock cross meat chicken. And every time we come to the barn, oh y'all, I'll go ahead and show you what we can see of it. But what I was saying was, every time we come to the barn, the first thing we're looking for is, are there any dead birds? Okay, so let me kind of backstory that with, we've had chickens for over 20 years, but egg production chickens and meat production chickens are kind of 2 different animals, honest to goodness, okay? So, that being said, there's a different management practice for raising these kinds of birds, meat production chickens, compared to raising, can I find her? Where you at? Oh gosh, I can't even find her. Compared to raising these kinds of birds. This is an egg production pullet that is 11 days older than these birds, okay? So, obviously, where you at? Let's see if I can find her again. Normal rate of growth in chickens is more like this. This is considered rapid rate of growth, okay? When we're 32 days old and we look like this, you know, instead of this white leghorn that would be like 43 days old, okay? While I'm trying to talk, I need to actually pick the umbrella up with my other hand, because I am getting soaked. Okay, so at any rate, so the backstory on when we walk into the barn, the first thing we're looking for is there any dead chickens, because with Cornish rock cross meat chickens, a significant factor in their production schedule is, are they going to make it to processing? Are they going to live long enough to complete production, to make it to processing? And I had told you before, so many times we hear people fixing to raise meat chickens say, we're not going to lose any chickens. We're going to raise them to 8 weeks, or we're going to raise them to 10 weeks. And then they get to 5 weeks and a couple birds die. And then they get to 6 weeks and a couple more birds die. And all of a sudden they realize that it's nice to dream. And quite frequently, the reality when raising Cornish rock cross meat chickens is that time is not on their side. Time is not on the farmer's side. And quite frequently, they do pass away before the end of production from natural causes that the producer really can't do a whole lot about. There's a fine line where these genetics in these birds have been specified, have been specialized through just breeding lines, through just natural pairings, but selective breeding, and have been specialized to the point where sometimes the rapid growth outstrips and outpaces the inside organs' abilities to support the growth. And so heart failure is what I'm talking about there, and sometimes we see skeletal failure. But the other part of this backstory is, so we've had egg production chickens, like the little gal there, for over 20 years. We've specialized in these meat chickens for about 4 years, and we've gotten to the point where when it comes to heart failure, we typically can see that coming 2 or 3 days ahead of time. So what we've gotten in the habit of doing is, if we see a bird not doing well, we'll remove it from the flock at large. We'll put it in a different pen, like a recovery pen, and then we'll know, okay, well, if it dies over there, that's a bird we had recognized was having organ failure, heart failure. And so then, we still feel discouraged that we lost that bird, but we know, there's probably nothing we could have done about that. It was just one of those situations. So when we come in the barn and we look for all living birds, we're scanning for birds that aren't still living. And I want to show you what I saw when I said, uh-oh. Maybe y'all already seen it. So behind the feeder, that bird that's kind of reaching to eat, you see the feet, the toes sticking up, the chicken toes sticking up. So I'll have to go over there as soon as I'm done with the camera work, and that's all that I'm going to show you. But I know I've got a dead bird over there, and I didn't apparently take it seriously enough to pull that bird out. But last night, last check in the barn, I had one bird, and my middle son was out here helping me, 19 years old, my middle son. And I said to him, I said, what do you think of this bird? I don't think it's looking too good. It's moving pretty slow. It's breathing heavy, and its skin looks dark. And we both observed it, and it got up, went on its way, and ate and drank. But I'd lay money on that's the bird that's dead over there. So I've got one to get out of the pen. So remember I said, I hope it's 113? It's 112. We did start out with 126. We still have about 4 over on the other side of the crates in a recovery area with the pullets. But in this pen, then I know we're down to 112. So our processing appointment is for 100. So if we can take a few more than 100, we'll be really tickled with that, okay? So biosecurity, I mentioned, we need to talk about that in another video, but biosecurity basically means making your premises for your livestock as safe for them, for disease prevention, and their well-being as possible. So keeping things like pathogens from coming in from the outside. So we'll have to hit on that in another video, and biosecurity measures are important. We should use them. We should use good ones based on logic, but I want to let you know with meat birds, the reality is even biosecurity measures aren't going to totally prevent flock loss prior to processing, because that's what you're going to run up against. At some point, for some of these birds, their organs just aren't going to support the rapid growth. So, you know, we really focus on keeping their skeletal structure strong, giving them great nutrition, giving them consistent fresh hydration, keeping the flooring clean and healthy for them so they're not slipping on it, so it's absorbing moisture from their manure. And we concentrate on keeping them well, and we shorten our timetable for raising them to accommodate the reality that time is not on these birds' side, and the longer we raise them, the more strikes there are against them. So we're gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna finish checking on birds. God bless y'all. Please subscribe to Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, and please join us again and support local farmers wherever local is for you.